Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Warships. I'm your host, Legendary, and today we are watching a replay from webefrisco, and he's playing the Tier 10 US Premium Heavy Cruiser, the USS Salem. Now, the USS Salem is very similar to Des Moines, so if what I'm going to say sounds very familiar to you, that's why. About the armament. The ship is equipped with 9 203mm guns, and they have an insane rate of fire. To tell you how insane it is, the reload is round about 5 seconds, depending of your equipment, captain skills, whatever. You also have improved penetration and improved ricochet angles, and the downside of that is that the shell arcs are absolutely atrocious. It's not at the level of the US destroyers like the Gearing and this kind of ships, but it's still pretty bad when you compare it to the other nations. If you can see one upside to that, is that you can use islands, and you will see it's going to be a recurring theme during this video. webefrisco is going to use the islands a lot, and that's basically what's going to keep him alive. And that's how you should play a Salem or a Des Moines. You must use islands. Islands are your friends. Anyway, we'll talk about that a little bit later. Now, let's talk about the survivability of the ship. Basically, every shell above 431mm is going to penetrate you from all angles, which means that you can be citadel from all angles by basically any battleship at this tier. You must be very careful about that, and you shouldn't play this ship in open water. It's a ship that was designed to be played with the islands. Find an island and stay with it. Go from island to island. That's how this ship is supposed to be played. Regarding the maneuverability, it's pretty bad. It's definitely not a ship that you must play out in the open, and that's one of the other reasons why you must use islands, along with the survivability. And let's finish with the consumables. You have an 8.5 kilometer radar, and that's pretty mediocre, to say the least. It's tier 7 level of radar, and you have no hydroacoustic surge. You have defensive AA consumable. The ship got a super heal, and you will see that during the course of this battle. I'm not going to spoil, but it's really good. Now, back to the battle. Nice citadels, by the way. And that Hector committed a very bad error of judgment. He's not only broadside, but he didn't subscribe to your channel. Remember, when you subscribe to a channel, you cannot be seen through smoke screens, even if the enemy uses radars. So you better subscribe and enjoy this advantage. Now, the Hector is dead, and they still have a Shimakaze in that sector, but the Shimakaze run out, and that was definitely the right thing to do. You don't want to sit there in front of a Salem, otherwise you are going to be in a world of pain. Now, they have Des Moines right here. He was broadside. He luckily didn't take any citadel, but I don't know what he's going to do. It looks like he's going to do a U-turn, so he's probably going to be broadside in the near future. But maybe he understood the lesson. You don't stay broadside to a Salem. It's basically the same thing as with a Vermont and a lot of other ships, namely a Yamato or something like that. Because the Salem got so much firepower and so much damage per minute that you are basically going to melt with the high explosive, or get citadel to death, or penetrated to death with the armored piercing. So yeah, it's a very dangerous ship, and you should definitely not stay broadside. And you see, one other thing about the way webefrisco is playing. He's picking his engagements, and he's trying to keep them as, oh boy, that's a nice salvo. He's trying to keep them 1 versus 1, and that's very important. You don't want to fight 1 versus 5 or whatever. You want to isolate your targets and make it sure that their friends cannot help them. Here, there is a Magi and a Hipper shooting at Frisco, but yeah, it's not that dangerous. They're shooting high explosive. He's angled towards them, and he managed to punish the broadside of the Des Moines. So that's a nice thing. Oh, here's the Shimakaze. Shimakaze means torpedoes, so you better get out of here very, very quickly, because the torpedoes are probably already on the way and they will arrive pretty soon. Torpedoes to port. And just as I say, here they are. It's as if I can read the future, right? So he managed to dodge the torpedoes, and we can't see the Shimakaze anymore. But we have some idea where the Shimakaze is. The radar is too short range to spot the Shimakaze because this radar is trash. It's basically a tier 7 radar or a budget version of the Des Moines radar. Put it the way you want. But we saw only 2 sets of torpedoes. Where's the third one? It may be on the way, or maybe, oh, there is a Frederick right here, and sure enough, here's the Frederick. Mr. Frederick, you're having a very, very bad day, don't you? And it's a bit late to use the hydroacoustic surge, don't you think so, Sunshine? Yeah, that Shimakaze was spotted here quite a while ago, and you didn't take any action at all to dodge the torpedoes or use your hydroacoustic surge. So you deserved every inch of what arrived to you. You probably tunnel visioned, didn't pay enough attention to your surroundings, and that's what happened. You lost your ship. And the team lost a battleship with the associated points as well. But the Shimakaze is still here. Now, that will be a nice time to push the Shimakaze and capture C in the process. But you must be very careful, because the Shimakaze got a lot of friends. North Carolina, Des Moines, Hipper, and Magi. So you must do a clever use of the island and pick your fights. And that's basically what Frisco is going to do, pick his fights. And we have a perfect example here. He can shoot at the Shimakaze, and only the Shimakaze and the Hipper on the right can basically shoot in return. The Hipper is very useless. He doesn't have a very strong high explosive shell, so yeah, that's what he's doing, is basically killing the Shimakaze with an almost total impunity. Can he get the kill? Oh, that's... yeah, you can see the shell arcs. The time that the shells take to reach their targets. Oh, the secondary is still shooting, and oh boy, they got the kill. Secondary kill with Assailant. That's a first. That's pretty interesting. That's okay, why not? Some stuff can happen, I guess. But the most important is that the Shimakaze is dead, and Frisco can capture C all in peace. They still have 4 ships behind this island, and that would be a very, very bad idea to push them all at once. As I said before, pick your fights. Make sure you fight a 1-on-1, or even better, 2, 3, 4, 10 versus 1. Just make sure that you still have at least an advantage towards the enemy. You don't want to be on an equal fight. Now Salem has a bit of an advantage here, since it can be considered short range, and he got a very, very good damage per minute potential. And none of the ships present on this side, of the enemy ships of course, present on this side, can match his DPM. So it's really an interesting position for him, because he's basically blocking all these 4 ships to push the rest of his enemy team. They cannot push unless they kill Frisco, or they're going to pay a huge number of taxes. Maybe the North Carolina is thinking, yeah, I can still push, it's just a Salem. Yeah, it's a Salem. Well, it's just a Salem, basically, but it can do quite a lot to you, right? And yeah, that was 8k damage. 8k every 4 point something seconds. So You're on to have a very bad day, Mr. North Carolina. Indeed. You can, he cannot overmatch the Salem from all sides, so if Frisco stays angle, he can mitigate the damage. Yeah, you can see Frisco really fighting against the temptation to use the third turrets, the back, but you shouldn't do that. Otherwise you would expose a bit too much broadside, and then the North Carolina can basically citadel you to death, if he gets lucky, of course. And now the North Carolina is dead, his salvo is going to kill him, and that is kill number 3. And, oh, next customer, Mr. Hipper. What could then Hipper do right here? All alone and broadside. Well, when he took his decision, he was probably thinking, yeah, I have a North Carolina as a friend, but the North Carolina is no longer here. And yeah, Mr. Hipper thought he was a destroyer. He wanted to use his torpedoes. Why not? I mean, in the heat of the situation, that wasn't a bad move. Not at all. Because he managed to hit Frisco. Because Frisco was basically stuck between these two islands, forming a channel. The thing being that the Salem got a super heal. So what he did wasn't that much useful, but I can understand why he did it. It's just that the results are very subpar. Now that the torpedoes have arrived and they all missed, you can still push. There's still an Amage, but the Amage is running away, and a Des Moines. We know that the Des Moines is low on health. He got hammered at the beginning of the battle and doesn't have a super heal, unlike the Salem. So if Frisco is careful enough to not show his broadside to the Des Moines, he can basically kill him very quickly. And there is a Monarch, which will pop out on the side of the Des Moines. So it's not that risky, and there is a Johann de Witt as well. And just as he wanted to push towards the Des Moines, he's having an argument with the islands. And it looks like Frisco lost the argument because he's forced to back down. Yeah, just couple girls, right? Now, can you push the Des Moines? Yeah, that would be lovely. Here's the Des Moines. As I said, low on health. He's going to die, I think, in 1 or 2 salvos. Oh, here are the shots from the Johann de Witt, and yeah, that's it. And that's going to be the Kraken. Now, music please, because the rest of the battle is going to be Frisco slaughtering the enemy. They still have an Amage, an aircraft carrier, and a Johann de Witt. The Johann de Witt just died, and there's still the Amage. Now, you see, it's a lot of shooting, not a lot of thinking. The Amage is shooting the high explosive towards the Salem. It's not a good idea. That guy is going to die very quickly indeed. And here's the Confederates. Now let's push towards the aircraft carrier. The aircraft carrier doesn't pose that much of a threat at the moment. He can still manage to kill 1 or 2 people, but he's not going to win this battle. So thank you, Frisco, for sending that replay. That was a very nice battle to watch. Nice score, by the way, especially the close quarters expert with a Salem. And Confederate and Kraken Unleashed, of course. So I hope you all enjoyed this battle, because I certainly did, and I wish you all a very good day. I will see you all next time. Goodbye, folks.